Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Learn with Jason. Today on the show, we're going to do something a little bit different. We are going to do a Q&A session. So I've been running the show now for a long time. We are going on, we're approaching episode number 200, actually. We're over 180. This might be 190. We're getting real close. So, hey, Chris, thank you for the sub. It's good to see you. I see Brittany sub before we started. Thank you very much. A hype train is close. Oh no, are we going to start this thing with a hype train? Who else wants a sub? You know, if you sub, you get to drop boops on me, right? That's a law. Oh yeah, I see all sorts of folks. Yash is here. James is here. What's up, everybody? Mike, good to see you all. Thank you all for hanging out. But so I've been doing the show for a long time, right? I've been streaming for. There it is, Ben with the sub. Thank you very much. So, choo-choo, I guess. But yes, please drop all those boops. So, Learn with Jason started a few years back. I was trying to figure out ways to be more transparent about the way that I was working, and a way to be a little more consistent with my content creation. And so I started doing just live streams of whatever I could think of. One of the first things I streamed was actually a prioritization meeting when I was at Gatsby. We were trying to figure out what we were going to work on in the open source project. So I just turned on a live stream and we did that. It was terrible. Nobody was interested. I was bored. Like, it was not a good use of Twitch to stream a meeting. But I kind of started thinking, what else could we stream? What else would be good? And so I will absolutely explain what the subs and boops mean. Yes, hi Angie, it's good to see you. But so I started out by streaming a meeting, and then I streamed myself working one day, and that was actually fun. I really enjoyed that. And then I remember I called Nod or Dabbit, and I was like, hey, do you want to do a stream together? Like, you can show me how to use AWS Amplify, and we'll deploy a Gatsby site onto it, and it'll be fun, right? And he was into it. He was a sport, and we just got on a Zoom call and turned on Twitch, and that was the first episode of Learn with Jason. Really low tech. We use Zoom. We use Twitch. That was it. There was nothing else. There were no sound effects. No anything. And then over time, I liked that format, so I did more. I mean, Katie Fujihara was one of my first early guests. Emma Bostian came on early on, and we just kept making more. It was like, okay, so I like this format. I like this idea of doing guests, and so let's keep doing that. Let's keep doing more of it. And then I learned about overlays, and then I learned about sound effects. And so anyways, here we are 2 years in, and I thought it would be fun to do a little bit of a Q&A. I get asked all the time how streaming works, how I do things the way that I do it, how I keep the chat organized, what technology I'm using under the hood, my setup, all those things. So I wanted to just open up the floor and let's make a video. We're going to do this stream, answer your questions, and then I'll have a stream that I can point to when people ask, so that it's not me trying to remember what I said. How do I keep such a stylish beard? The answer is I don't. I have trimmed my beard once since the pandemic started, because it got so just terribly out of hand that it was like here's how bad my beard was. When I looked down, I could feel it brush my chest, and that felt wrong. That felt like too much. Okay, so Angie starts with a great question, which is the subs and boops. Okay, so let's talk about subs. So one of the things that I really like about Twitch is that Twitch has a very active kind of community vibe. And this is one of the reasons that I use Twitch instead of using YouTube or using really any of the other streaming platforms out there, or trying to build my own or something. Because what Twitch does, and what I love about it, is it makes the episodes kind of by default co-authorable. So it's not just me up here, and it's not just me and my guest. It's the chat. Like, the chat plays as much a role in the show as I do or the guest does. And that is really, really fun. Thank you very much for that sub, Ayakase. I appreciate that. And so one of the ways that you can, Xander, jeez, look, this is great. I love it. Luke's doing gifts. What up? Okay, so the way that subs work is that on Twitch, you can do subs only chat. You can give people custom emotes. Like the boop is a custom emote. It's a thing that I designed and I uploaded it to my Twitch profile. And now anybody who subscribes gets to use that emote. So they can put a boop in the chat. Subs, where you at? Put some boops in the chat. And what this means is in doing that, they support me as a streamer. It's like $5 a month. And some of that goes to Twitch, some of that goes to me, and it helps kind of keep the wheels on everything, right? There's those boops. And in addition to that, it gives some extra things you can see on the screen in the bottom. What is over here? Over there. You can see that people have different colors, right? So Chris is pink. That's because he's a mod. I believe the blue is for subs, and if I say something, I think I come in as yellow because I'm the streamer. And then, white is like is just like, hey, what up? You're chatting and it's great to see you here. All these gifted subs. What is up? Oh, thank you very much, Alex. Thank you for gifting those subs. And everybody who just got a sub from Alex, maybe drop some boops in the chat to thank him. I see another sub from Chris. Thank you, Chris. Chris at Lemon Podcasting actually is who does the Remotely Interesting podcast, which is a podcast that I do with my team at Netlify. It is super fun and it's very casual. It's full of a lot of like silly jokes and occasionally we talk about something relevant, but it's a good time. But yeah, I love that Luke's using the marquee tag. So with the subs, what it does is it helps kind of create this co-authored environment. There are things that you can do, you can play, you get access to these emotes and this kind of customized experience, and that's really, really fun. But what I realized when I started doing this was I started putting in the overlays. Then, thank you, Chris, I appreciate it. Then when you get into the overlays, suddenly there's this possibility of interactivity. So as you've been seeing, as we've been talking, there are boops falling from the sky. There's a little submarine down in the corner. There are, little overlays coming whenever somebody subscribes. You can see my goofy face. And there are other sound effects that you can do as well. Maybe somebody wants to fire off one or two of those to kind of show how they work. But yeah, there's the submarine. So there are commands that you can run in the chat to control the submarine. So now you are authoring this experience, right? That submarine is moving and you can change that submarine into a dumpster fire. So if you feel like the show is not going the way you want, you can make it a dumpster fire instead. And yeah, look, they're over here. You can see little animated Jason with a growing or shrinking beard. And that's something that Cassidy Williams helped me build out of pure CSS. And then we added some commands to it, right? So that we could make it, the beard grows, the beard shrinks, or you can make the arms flap if you want. And it's all of this is interactivity that has been built, and it's all built in HTML and CSS. This is a React app. Like what you're looking at here, the box that I'm in, hello, I'm in a glass case of emotion. This is all built in HTML and CSS. And that is actually really, really fun for me. So actually, let me do this. Let me switch over into desktop mode so we can see things. And what I will do is I'll show off some of this stuff and how it actually works. Ooh, the video is coming from OBS. That is absolutely true. So yes, let me show the actual stream scenes here. So these are the scenes. This is a Toast app. Toast is a meta framework for React, except it uses Preact under the hood for building like apps, like websites. The Learn with Jason site is a Toast app. The Jason.af is a Toast app. The scenes are a Toast app. I'm a fan. And you can see I've hard coded the size on these, so it's intended to be exactly the same size as. Did you just freeze on me, computer? What are you doing? What is that? Oh no, I didn't. It didn't freeze. It just Firefox doesn't work the way that I thought it did. Full screen I thought would get rid of the address bar, but it doesn't. But so you can see here, like I expect this to be exactly 720p, and it's not. And that means that things jump around. But so the way that this works, and you can see we've got like kind of streamception here, because as y'all are chatting, that chat shows up, right? It's on the page, and you can see like there's the sponsorship listing in the bottom. And actually, while I'm thinking about sponsors, and before I get too far, let me remind you, the show today is being live captioned, as are all of our shows. We've got Rachel here from White Coat Captioning helping us up. That's right on the homepage. So you can head over to learnwithjason.dev and you can see the captions happening live. Again, thank you, Rachel, for being here. That is made possible through the support of our sponsors. We've got Netlify, Fauna, Auth0, and Hasura all kicking in to make this show more accessible to more people, and that really does mean a lot to me. Remember, you can click on these links when you get there. So go check out the captions, go check out the sponsors. It's a good deal. It's a good time for all of us. Okay, so what were we talking about? We were talking about the scenes here, right? So these are the scenes, and each of these is just a unique URL. So if we want to go to let's go to the interview, right? So if we go to the interview, then that's the heads up, and because I'm the guest today, it shows me twice. And each of these things is just a piece of code. So in a recent episode, we built the submarine overlay. And so if you're interested in seeing how that actually works, I got to make this page faster. It loads all of my episodes before we start. So in this episode here, we built the submarine. And so if you're interested in seeing how the submarine works, Chris, thank you for the cheer. Oh my goodness. Oh, wow. We're 10%. Oh, wait. Final level of the hype train. I don't think I've ever finished a hype train. In fact, the only person I've ever seen finish a hype train is Cassidy. So yeah, 4 minutes. You wanna finish it out, Chris? Geez, thank you very much for those bits. That's big. But yeah, so let's. Oh, Chris is the author of Toast, by the way. So you know that's. There it is. What up, y'all? Peruvian Idol. Thank you so much. We finished a hype train. That's a first. What a great day. Okay. So you see this overlay? Oh no, this way. That overlay happening over there, where you see the animated GIF come in, and you see the name and the just subscribed. So that is all controlled by Twitch events. But yeah, it's really fun. How did I create the thumbnails for the streams? That is all done in Cloudinary. I should show some code, yeah, because I feel like this will be easier than me trying to just talk through how it works. So let's do this. Let's start with the scenes and let's take a look at them. And that opened in the wrong monitor, so let's pull this over here. Thank you, Xander. You are a gentleman. Bobby Tables, thank you for the cheer. Jeez, what a great day. This is so much fun. Boop it up, y'all. Yes, you can absolutely boop it up. You now have full control. So let's take a look here at the general setup of this. We've got a page wrapper that just returns the children, and then we have this kind of index page. And so the index page loads in a router so that we can get to /interview /monologue /pair programming the scenes. It loads in React Helmet so that I can set the title. I don't really need to do that because we don't show the title bar, but I feel weird when I don't, so I do. I also use it for loading in the style sheet. And then we bring in Socket Studio. So Socket Studio is a thing that I've been working on. I eventually want to launch this as a service that other developers can use to stream. And what it does is it basically gives you some hooks for using different things about your Twitch stream in the stream itself as part of your overlays. Then we bring in content, we bring in the lower third, and we bring in the overlays. And those all get dropped here. So we've got our main overlay. I've got a top bar, which if you look at the top of the screen here, there's that gradient bar. That is that's actually animated. It's like one of the more subtle animations I've ever done. And then in the router, we pull in our content and the overlays, so that those overlays they actually change position a little bit depending on what scene we're in. Sometimes they're bottom left side of the screen, sometimes they're centered, etc. And then the lower third is down below us. And if you look, another very subtle animation that I've done, if you look at the Learn with Jason logo, which is to my, yeah, this side. My video is not mirrored, so I can never tell which way I'm about to point. But all the way on the left side of the screen there with that Learn with Jason logo, do you see those dots? Those polka dots in the background are actually animated, and I don't know that anyone has ever noticed that I haven't pointed it out to, and I don't even want to tell you how long I spent making that work. Yeah, it's a lot. But okay, so now I've got the overlays, I've got all these things, and then when we get into the content itself, we've got our scenes. So each of these is a route, and then I've got the interview, the monologue, pair programming, solo, etc. And inside of these, it's just some HTML. This is how I use some CSS to put my face in the middle. So the one that we're looking at right now is the solo. And the solo here, I have the desktop is a big empty box, and I put the video of the desktop in there. I'll talk about how that works in a second. And then I have the box for host videos. So I'm the host on the guest screen. When I pair program, there's two of them. We've got the guest and we've got me, and those end up being boxes that I set the videos underneath. So a little bit about how that works. The way that this works is I'm using software called OBS. I'm specifically using the Streamlabs flavor of OBS, but OBS is it's short for Open Broadcasting Software or Open Broadcasting System, I think. It's a free tool. It's very nice. It's open source. Really, like, what a cool thing to just get for free, right? In it, I'm able to let me open up OBS on my Mac. Actually, this might get weird because I don't know what OBS is set up to show right now. Let's switch before I pull this over. I have this one. Oh yeah, this is the old one. This is the old Learn with Jason. So this is a version from way back in the day of that shows my other desktop. So let's take a look at how this actually works. So I've got like my screen recording. Oh, remember that transition? That was a fun one. So each of these is a scene. And so the scenes you can transition between. And that's how the show works. When I start the show, I click over into like webcam only or something, and then that moves into webcam, and so you can't really see this webcam because it's using a different one. But if I change this over to say use my Logitech, there we go. So then I've got my, did that not save? I said do the thing. Laptop. Oh, that's what I did wrong. So here's my video here. So then if I want to do an overlay, I can like grab this video and I can, how am I going to make this smaller? No, I want you to go out. No, you're not going to let me do that. There we go. That's not even the thing I wanted to, this is the one that I want to change. Unlock, click. As you can tell, I'm an expert at OBS. But so here I'm able to kind of like resize this video, and I can move things around, and I can get a sense of what's going on. And as I'm moving these around the scene, then I can add other things in here. So if I want to add in my my display capture, for example, then I can create a new display capture, and I'll choose. I don't like choosing this one because it's always like weird inception, but the other one is well, let me do this. Let me make this bigger, and then we'll capture my other screen. So you can see my heads up display of what I look at on my other monitor when I'm streaming. So this then is my streaming display. And so I'm kind of building this out like so. And on a bigger monitor, this is a little bit easier. Right now I'm kind of making do with my scaled down monitor here. But what I'm able to do then is I can put like, here's my screen, and my screen sits over here, and then here's my video, and maybe my video wants to go down in this corner, and then I'm going to put that on top. So I can drag this up and kind of get them in the stack order that I want. And then as you can see here, this really starts to take shape. It starts to look like a stream. And, you know, I can add more stuff in here. If I want to add an image or whatever, I could go let's get an image, and I will grab, I don't know, any image. What's a good image? Oh, you know what I just did? I just curated a folder full of memes. So let me do that. I'm going to get my media, memes. Let's go in here, and maybe we'll do, how about this one? So we'll take this image, and then we can drop this image right up here. Wait, did I not tell you to? There. So look, we're doing stream design, right? This is beautiful. What a great stream design. I'm going to win some awards for this. But you can see kind of how this takes shape, where we start putting together all the pieces of the stream and we just layer them up. And then if I wanted to add an overlay, for example, I could do, let's see, do I have one that's easy to add? I think I have the subscriber overlay. I do, and I think that one reacts to any, let's see, did I set this up to work with any command? Nope, it's not that. You know what? I don't remember what triggers that one, so I'm not gonna try to use it. It's like a work in progress that I've been trying to figure out, that Prince is gonna come help me with actually in a few days. So that's gonna be really fun. But so here in OBS then, I have all of this stuff set up, and then you can see here that I have a start streaming and a start recording and a studio mode. So if I go into my settings, and then in the stream, I'm gonna do this off screen just in case it shows anything. It doesn't. Okay, so check this out. So then I have the services that I can stream to. So I can choose any one of these and pick where I'm going to stream, and then you can choose your server if you want. I haven't ever done that. And then if you hit this Get Stream Key button, I'm pretty sure, I'm not going to do this on stream, but I'm pretty sure that it will go out to Twitch's OAuth and just pull that down for you so that you're set up and ready to go. So if you're interested in streaming, you can download OBS. You can set up your webcam and you can set up your desktop just like this, like I just did. And then you can hit that start streaming button and you are a streamer. There's literally nothing else that you need to do. Just put, as Chris Biscardi would say, just push the button. It's really nice. Like I love this general setup. I love the approachability of it. That's another thing that I like about streaming is that you can go as deep down this rabbit hole as you want to. But ultimately, all you really need, and we don't even need, you know what? You don't even need a webcam. You could just go live. Like this could be you. You can go, you know, decide you're gonna make something work and just make it work. Like get out there and start streaming today, right? And that's a really powerful way to set things up. And all these transitions and things are all. Yeah, they're all doable, right? You can get there over time, but it's a process, right? It's not the kind of thing that you sit down and you build out this whole streaming setup. Like it took me 2 years to get to the point where I am today, and I just make incremental changes over time, right? That's really how this goes. So let's see. Let's look at some questions here. This stream about streams deserves its own stream. I agree. Let's see. Are the overlays their own site? They absolutely are their own site. And I can, actually, let me show you how I do that. So I have the LWJ scenes. Okay, so then let me pull one of these up. I've got the monologue. Okay, so I'll take this and I'll go into OBS and I will do a browser overlay. Where is it? Browser. And then I'm going to pop this in here. I'm going to put it at 1280 by 720. We could control the audio via OBS if we want. I'm going to let it go. And then you'll notice that it sets the background to transparent. And so then I drop this in, and there's my browser source. Okay, so then when I turn my webcam on, let me lock all this stuff so I can move things around. Now my webcam is here, and I can just start making things the right size. Like, I would go here, and then maybe I drag this a little bit bigger so that it fills the space, and then I move it around a little bit more, and then boom, here I am. I'm now streaming. I'm streaming with my overlay, right? And if I go and make changes to this website, I can refresh it and it works. And so this is kind of the power of how this stuff works. You're not doing magic. You're just layering things together, and you build them up a little bit at a time. The block is transparent because I didn't set a background color on it. And in the browser, it all works. And could you run this localhost? Absolutely. To the best of my knowledge. Like, let's try. Let's see if it works. I'm going to Netlify dev, and we'll see what kind of mess I've made on this branch since the last time I ran it. In this new world of video calls and Zoom, would something like OBS be useful for presentations instead of just screen sharing? Absolutely, it would. I feel like this is something that's really exciting because what you're able to do with OBS is so OBS, this software, has a plugin called Virtual Webcam. If you do that, you can stream from OBS as a webcam that you can then add as your camera. And that means that you could show up on Skype calls, on Zoom calls, WebEx, whatever you're using. And you could do that with you can, like, it'll work. So let's go to the monologue again. Okay, and then if I come back here and I change this to be the monologue and I reload, is it gonna work? Yep, there it goes. Okay, so we're running localhost. But yeah, this is, so like, you don't even need to deploy the site. You could just run it locally. You could have your whole streaming set up as a startup command that you run, and then when you're done, you tear it all down. So this is very, very flexible. You can do a lot with this. And, again, because this is a website, we can do all of these fun things. Like, we've got the submarine here, and like, when we start running this command, it's going to move around, and we can see, like, there it goes. It's moving. So this gives us a huge amount of flexibility as coders, as we build websites, right? That's what we know how to do. So we don't have to become video experts. We don't have to become broadcast experts. We can just build websites, and then we can play with these ideas. And that's why I'm so excited about Socket Studio. So I can show you how it works. So if I go to the submarine, what Socket Studio lets us do is I can pull in the Twitch chat with a React hook, and then I can pull out the current command, which I've aliased to command. And then I check to see whether the command is pet and whether the pet is one of the ones that we've defined. And by the way, this is all open source. So if you want to go play with this code, it is available. Let me stop this. It's available out at, that's the wrong, why are you always opening in the wrong window? Like, please don't be like that. How about you come over here like you're supposed to? All right, so we've got the scenes up here, and if you wanted to add a new pet, you could absolutely do that. If you look in here, these are the images, right? It's in the static folder, and you can go into source, components, submarine, and you could just add a new pet. So any pet you want to be able to put on the screen, definitely keep it G-rated, y'all. We're not doing anything weird out here. You can go open a pull request, and you can co-author the scenes, an interactive scene. You can fly a drawing that you did around the screen if you want. And that's what I think is so powerful about this, is that you don't need to get outside of the skills that you already have. You can use the web development skills that you have right now and build these really interactive experiences. It's super fun. I'm looking at this. Look, hold on, stop moving it. Look. If we put that on a hat, I would wear it. I should make a dumpster fire hat. Who's in for a dumpster fire hat? Ben! Look at all these gifts. Thank you so much. Oh, What a wonderful person. Can I sponsor a lemon? Yes, you can. I mean, just put a lemon in. You don't even need to sponsor it. I'm in. Yeah. Okay, dumpster fire hat. All right. Okay, I want it. I want a dumpster fire hat. I'm gonna make it happen. I will send an email today. Let's see how long it takes me to get it done. So, this is like really fun. I think it's there's so much potential with what we can do here, and I see things that are, I killed that scene is why that's not working anymore. But the potential that I see with this, right? There's so much that we can do with these overlays. Like, you know, one example is there's a tool out here called obs.ninja, right? And so the way that I bring in guests right now is I do it through Zoom. But this tool here will let you add your camera, and then when you add your camera, so if I do this and I choose, let's go with this one. I don't think I actually need one of these. Let's just do the internal mic. And so now, cool, thanks for not remembering any of my settings. Do you not work? There it is, there it goes, okay. All right, cool, so check this out. So now I've got all of this, and when I go to start, now here is a URL. This URL, if you put this into another page or you put this into OBS, this is now an actual URL that I can consume. And so I'm gonna hang up because that's gonna fry my computer if I try to stream from like 8 places at once. But this, you know, this is a really powerful, let me add a link to OBS Ninja because this is a really useful thing. Yeah, listen to Jimena. You now have permission to add boops. You can add corgis to the screen. You can do all sorts of things. But yeah, so this stuff is really powerful, and it gives you a lot of flexibility without having to become an expert in other things. Like it's such a powerful set of technology, and you know, at the end of the day, I'm just making websites. I'm playing with website ideas, you know, and even if I want to do something ambitious, like check this out. This is one that I've been working on. Are you gonna work? Oh, that's not the one. It's this one. This is a fun idea that I've been cooking around, where I really want, whenever somebody subscribes, I want that to come out. I want this little version of me to walk out on screen surrounded with hearts, because it just makes me smile. And I haven't been able to figure that out yet. Hopefully that's what Prince and I are going to figure out on our next stream together. But you know, I love the Corgi Stampede. It makes me so happy. But so these are really powerful approaches that, again, you know, it's all free software. It's stuff that you can do right now with standard web technology. You can build it with just HTML and CSS, and that's it. You can build a stream that way. And if you've got a webcam, you can put your face on it. If you don't, you can just share your desktop. But OBS is free. OBS Ninja is free. Building websites is often free. You know, I have this thing deployed on Netlife, so I don't pay to host it. I built it myself, so I didn't pay to build it. My whole stream runs on like surprisingly little infrastructure. The cost for me come in on kind of the maintenance and admin stuff. So, you know, as I mentioned, we've got live captioning, and live captioning is, you know, that I'm paying White Coat to be here. It's important though, like accessibility is really important. And that's why I have sponsors for the show. That's why the subs help. It helps me cover the costs of kind of accessibility stuff. I also have help with scheduling and posting, like the Twitter account. I have Anna, who helps me out with all of that. She takes care of so many things that just make my life easier. But yeah, this is all very cool. Ooh, Peruvian Idol, that's good. You use the Extra Life API to add a donation meter overlay to your stream. That is cool. That's actually another thing that I've been thinking about, is more like interactive kind of goal-based things, like cooperative goal-based, like donations or polls, or I've been trying to think of co-op games. There's so many fun things that we could do. I meant to type OBS and I typed object because I'm a JavaScript programmer. Okay, here's the OBS project. If you want to get started, you can download that today. And it works in all platforms, right? So you can use that wherever. Extra Life banner. I want to take a look at this. This is fun. So here's this Extra Life banner. That's fun. I like this. That's fun stuff. So yeah, definitely like the possibilities here are pretty. Chris Ameda, there's a burning trash box on my cap because the chat wished it to be so. You can move it around if you want by using the commands up, down, left, or right. So use an exclamation point and then the word up, down, left, or right, and it will move around. You can also change it back into a submarine if you want by using the command pet submarine. There it is. But yeah, so, oh good, I'm glad you're putting it right back on my face. There's a demo code pen on the right. I mention Slobs? Yes, I use Streamlabs OBS, Slobs for short, one of my favorite acronyms. The reason that I use it, I don't actually have a good one. I don't really use any of the Streamlabs features. Like when I first set it up, I thought I was going to use a lot of the Streamlabs stuff, and then I just didn't. Monocle Submarine, yes, absolutely. Do I recommend streaming in 720p over 1080p? I personally do. I stream smaller for a couple reasons. One, I don't think that a lot of people are watching streams full size. And chat, you can confirm. How many of you are watching the stream full screen right now versus kind of minimized in the Twitch player, right? And the reason that I stream at 720p and use bigger font sizes, aside from the fact that I'm just getting older and it's hard for me to read small font now, I like the idea that if somebody is watching this in a smaller player, they can still read the code. So full screen is great. You can read a lot, and if there's something super detailed, I might zoom out so that you can see it all on the screen and pause and full screen it and take it out. But generally speaking, it's done in bigger fonts and for smaller screen sizes, because I'm assuming that you're going to watch this at like 600 pixels wide, not at 1080p. But yeah, that definitely is. I thought you were serious that you were on your watch, Chris. All right, chat. Let's get this thing off my face a little bit. Just go. We got to go up for air. But yeah, so theater mode or full screen on your TV. I have definitely seen the full screen on a TV, and that is the most flattering thing to see Learn with Jason up on a TV like it was a real TV show. Okay, so submarine to the sky. Brad, good question. So Rodecaster versus Go XLR. Any opinion on hardware mixers? I'll tell you what I did. What I did is, first of all, huge disclaimer here. Gear is a rabbit, like a deep, endless rabbit hole that can cost you tens of thousands of dollars if you're not careful. So please remember, you do not need any gear. You can use the camera on your laptop and you can use the mic on your laptop and you can still be a good streamer. You do not have to buy gear. So take everything I'm about to say with a big grain of salt, because what I'm about to say is very expensive. What I use is I have a Sony DSLR. It's the A5100, I think. And then I have a lens on it. I have a lens with a low f-stop, so that's why there's some kind of blur in the background. And actually you can see, you see how I immediately start to blur if I step out of the depth of field? That's so that I get this kind of nice, like it's sharp in the front and it's blurred in the back, and that kind of adds for a nice cinematic effect. That lens itself is as expensive as the camera. That runs into what's called a Blackmagic web presenter. That is, that turns the DSLR into a webcam. So I get an HDMI cable that runs out of that. Oh yeah, you can absolutely use your iPhone as your webcam. That's a great solution, right? But yes, the DSLR goes into the Blackmagic, which then goes into my computer and shows up as a web, like a webcam. And that's what I'm using now. If it shows up in my list as like I have my laptop camera and then I have the Blackmagic web presenter, so I choose that one. Then on the mic side, so this mic is a Shure SM7B. A Shure SM7B is a very high quality microphone that is super finicky. They're a pain because you can't just get a Shure SM7B. You have to get a Shure SM7B, and then you have to run that into a preamp, or what's called I use something called a cloud lifter, and what that does is it kind of gives you some signal boost, because this mic, it picks up very clean sound, but the sound is low. So you need specialized gain boost. So I use the cloud lifter, and then the cloud lifter runs into something called a DBX 286S. And the DBX 286S is a preamp, and it also has it does compression, it does noise limiting, it does de-essing. So one of the reasons that I did this, and this is actually probably the most important reason, you can hear my audio is very consistent. And part of that is because I practice like projecting. A thing that I've practiced as a speaker is trying to use an outdoor voice all the time. I'm sure people around me love it. But because of the compression, the volume of my voice doesn't actually affect the volume of the output that you're hearing. And I can give you a demonstration of this. So right now I'm speaking at what I would consider my presenter voice. It's louder than it needs to be. I'm sure that my partner's in the other room just like, shut up. But that's how I speak. If I get louder, if I start using my yelling voice, it doesn't get any louder through the actual stream, right? I might have maxed the mic out. I don't know if it did any clipping just now. But then check this out. If I go to my whisper voice, if I go to like my nighttime DJ voice, I'm like, hello, all you cats and kittens. Let's talk about websites. Right? You still get that sound is the same. It didn't dip way down, right? And that's because of compression. And so the reason that it's worth doing is because you get that consistency of volume. You don't get parts where people need to turn the volume up because you're kind of having hey, let's have a serious moment. Let's really talk about, why this is a big deal. And then I get excited about something and I'm yelling and I'm going too loud. I don't want you to have to mess with your volume while you watch this show. So that compression is very important. I know, I'm very sorry about cats and kittens. That was and then all of that, I actually use what's called a line cleaner. So it's a power conditioner. And that is to make sure that the electricity from my wall is very even so that I don't get hum. If you've ever listened to a microphone and in the background, there's just kind of like this really annoying ambient hum. That's actually because of electricity fluctuations. It causes noise on microphones. So anyways, all of that. Oh, and listen, yeah, what Lemon Podcasting is saying, that's really smart. So like what Chris is saying is you can use OBS to do some of this compression stuff and some of this noise gating. Hardware is going to be more effective than software because software can only take the end signal and manipulate it. Hardware can change the signal. Is it worth the money? Not unless you're making money from it, right? Like that's what I would say is if you're doing something where this is professional, it's part of your career, you're doing it for your job or something like that, it makes sense to invest. If you're doing it for fun or you're doing it to try to position yourself to get a job, don't spend too much money on it, right? Like there are diminishing returns on how much hardware will make a difference. And it really is a rabbit hole because I'm looking at this pile of gear and I already have a list of other gear that I also wish I had. Because once you start learning about it, you start learning more about it, and then you just get sad and yeah. Yeah, or as Chris is saying, like it definitely does make it easier for other people. Like when you send in audio for a talk or you send in audio for a podcast, like Chris is mentioning, that generally ends up being much easier for them to edit because they don't have background noise to deal with, they don't have clipping or audio fluctuations, so they just get to drop it in and they're good to go. But nobody needs a piece of audio gear. Everybody needs another. Yeah, exactly that. But yes, yeah, Joel Hooks and Chris Biscardi have been the best kind of bad influence on me as a result of knowing them. I didn't have to figure this stuff out. I got to just kind of step into a solid setup, which has been great. Yeah, no, you know what? That's fair, because like people don't typically expect folks to have pro audio gear. That's a pretty unreasonable expectation, because you know the gear that I'm looking at, this is a multi-$1,000 investment in making audio and video look and sound good, right? So when I have somebody on the show, like I don't care if they're on their MacBook mic. That's like, but then it gets embarrassing sometimes, because I'll be talking to somebody and they're on their MacBook mic and they go, "Oh my God, I'm using the wrong mic. I could have been using my pro mic this whole time." And then I feel bad because I didn't ask, but I don't want to make somebody feel bad for not having gear. But anyways, this is definitely a, the gear is a deep rabbit hole. It's a very fun rabbit hole. And if this is the sort of thing that you find interesting, like, hardware stuff, and if you're in a position to make investments in it, it really does make a big difference, and it is really fun. And I didn't even talk about like lights, but as you saw in my webcam, back here is a light. Sorry, there. That is a light. Behind me, you can see this. That is a colored LED, so that's how I get the blue and purple behind me. Then I've got a key light right in front of me here, so you can kind of see how my face just got dimmer. I'm covering my key light, And then over here, I have another one. This is my my accent light, and so I have 4 lights at me right now. My field of view is very finicky because I have my my camera is fixed. So actually, I'm supposed to be standing right here. Like if I have my belly to my desk, I know that I'm in the right place. But then I start getting, I get animated with my hands, and I've knocked over 2 coffee cups in 2 weeks, and I'm really worried for the lifespan of my computer. So I've started getting, nervous. However, if I was willing to, I could get a I got like the mid-low range DSLR, like the worst good DSLR that I could get. If I get the next level up DSLR, the autofocus works better. The one on this one is tweaky, like it'll be focused and then it'll kind of do like a boop, boop, and I hate that. So I just leave it focused at where I should be standing, and then I try to remember to stand there. Need more cameras so I can have a free hands view. Yes, Chris. Yeah. Okay. So Chris has the same camera body as me, I think. And it's a very, it's like a very frustrating little like twitch that the camera has when it's trying to autofocus, that drives me up a wall. So, okay. So let's talk a little bit about, actually, what do you want to talk about, chat? What questions have I not answered here? Who here streams? Like, give me a, let's see, the F in the chat is if something goes poorly, but give me a yes in the chat. If you, I say Brad's a streamer. Bobby Tables, I know you stream. There's Chris. What up? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good call. Drop your Twitch links, right? Like let's all start following each other here, because I think there's definitely there's some really good streamers in this chat already. I'd love to see some folks who are kind of up and coming. Eli asked, do I have a separate streaming computer? I do. When I first started, I did not. And that worked for quite a while, but I found a couple problems. The main problem was that if my computer got below about 20% battery, it started doing like memory protection. So it would gate how powerful things could be, and everything would grind to a halt. And I think I could have mitigated that by just plugging things in. But what I noticed was that when I was running OBS and I was running some kind of heavy node process, and I'm trying to do development, and I've got my webcam running, it just like even plugged in, it would ratchet down 1% at a time. And that always made me nervous, was that like I was going to run the wrong overpowering process. And even when plugged in, I was going to get below 20, and then the stream would chug and die. I also had a couple streams end because they just stopped working. Like my computer hit some limit that day, it couldn't keep up, and it just crashed and died. And that was it. And that was a huge bummer. Like I did not like that. So I invested in the second computer so that I could split the processing duties. So the way that this works is I have a Windows PC that is what I'm streaming from right now. That Windows PC has my webcam running into it, and it has the desktop of my Mac running into it as a like a display source, more or less. The way that works is I'm using what is called an Elgato capture card. I use the HD60S, which is a kind of an external device. It's about this big. And I run an HDMI cable through that, and that lets me pull it in. The desktop runs in live. So I'm working on my Mac right now. I move things around, and it shows up on my PC about 100 milliseconds later. So that allows me to let the computer, the Mac takes the brunt of the coding work, so I can run heavy processes or do big processing things in the background without the fan spinning up to 1,000. And then the PC handles all the streaming work and all of those things, which has helped me. I've noticed that it has resulted in fewer networking hiccups. Like I don't have as many issues where the Twitch stream quality dips all of a sudden because I did something network heavy on the coding side. And that's been really, really helpful. So then let's see, I think I saw a couple other questions here. What does success look like for the stream? Okay. I am in a unique position, I think, where I let's see. Let's talk about what success looks like for the stream. For me, success in the stream is we have a good time. Everybody who shows up leaves feeling like they were part of something, that they learned something, they had a good time, and the guests feel like they got a platform to talk to more people and to show off something that they're passionate about. The stream for me, Learn with Jason for me is, I have had a very fortunate career. I've been really lucky. I've met like wonderful people. I've gotten access. I've had a lot of privilege. And as a result, I've been able to get into the position that I'm in today, where I've got this amazing job at a company that actually treats people well. And I have, I've got, close to 100 people watching this thing live right now. And because of that, I want to, what I can do kind of looking forward, I don't want to do much more for me. I'm pretty happy. Like I make good money. I have a lot of fun. My career is exactly what I want it to be. And so I don't need much for me. So now I'm looking at like, what does it mean to go beyond me? Like, what does that look like? And so a lot of what I see with Learn with Jason and other work that I do is this opportunity to be a part of the tide that lifts all ships, right? So how can I find people who are doing, like, I see so many people doing the work and they just need more people to see it, or they need that shot to legitimize what they're doing, or someone to take them seriously so they can show off how good they are. And it's important to me to kind of do a mix of what people are aware of already, like we have the shows on stuff that you've definitely heard of before. And then I want to do shows on stuff that you haven't heard of before, or with creators that are getting started, right? To give people that opportunity. And what I really love is when I get to see somebody who I met them when they were at the very, very beginning of their journey, and they come on the show about midway through, and then later I see they get their dream job, or they're doing something that is far beyond what I'm doing, and I just get to be like, oh, that's so cool that they got there, right? And if I got to play a tiny role in that means so much. But yeah, so in terms of success for me, I think success is very much on like the way it makes me feel. I never feel like I have to do the stream. I feel like I get to do the stream. I never feel like this stream is selling anything. I feel like this stream is showing people what's out there. And those are all important metrics to me. I like the fact that I look forward to this every week. Like I've never been like, oh, I gotta go do my stream. It's always like, oh, thank God, today's a stream day. And that to me is probably the biggest success metric. In terms of company things though, like if I was gonna measure this for a company, if I was spinning this up as part of a DevRel department or something, The metrics that I look at are like participation, because if you get 1,000 people to watch a thing and nobody's in the chat, are they actually watching? Like, do they care? Are they interested? Are you being approachable? Are you doing something that's worth engaging with? So I'm curious to see like how many people are putting stuff in the chat. How many people are dropping boops and playing with the submarine pets and making jokes. And that to me is that's the metric that shows that things are happening, right? Like that's where we're building a community, and it feels like we're all kind of in this together. We're making episodes together, and that feels like the strongest indication that you're using the medium for what it's for. Because if you're not interested in engagement, just put it on YouTube. Like, who cares? How do I get my overlays to listen to Twitch commands? So the way that Twitch works is Twitch chat is IRC. So you can listen to the IRC and then pull those events out and do things with them. I've built a thing called Socket Studio. So let me get over here. Nope, this one. You know what? I gotta quit OBS. So remember I was saying that OBS made my computer chug? My fans are running at like full speed right now. So let me close that, and I'm gonna go to Socket Studio Preact. So what I use is this Socket Studio thing. So if you wrap your React app in the Socket Studio provider and you drop in Streamblitz is the old name. I originally called it Streamblitz, and then I found out that was already registered. So I switched over to Socket Studio, which is now a business that I have registered. I'm finalizing the paperwork now. And that so you use this API and then create a client, and then you wrap your app, and then inside of that you get this hook for use Twitch chat, and that gives you the chat, any commands that have been run, and the current command. The reason I give you a queue of commands is so that you could like dedupe if you wanted. If you had like a really noisy thing and you only wanted it to run every 30 seconds, you could keep track of that, or something like that. And once you've done that, you just get these things as data, and you can react to them as you want. So that is really fun. It's a pretty enjoyable way to build things. And honestly, if you wanted to use this today, you could probably reverse engineer it and try it. It's absolutely alpha software, and it absolutely might break. But it is something that I am intending to get a little more serious about, because it seems like something that opens up a whole world of fun and is a little bit easier than some of the other approaches out there of like kind of dealing with IRC raw. Let's see. We call this the use State of the Union address. Good jokes. Scanning for questions here. Oh yeah, Jacob streaming, Fubar. Yeah, OBS on Macs is definitely it's an issue. My computer is still recovering. The fans are up at like all the way. Let's see. Yeah, behind the scenes and different ghosts. Thank you for gifting a sub. That is very appreciated. Remember, if you got a sub today, you can drop some boops. Any comments on the Netlify outage? Actually, I will comment on that, because it's first of all, it's a huge bummer, but it's also something that is happening because of there's a way that you can set up sites on Netlify that introduces a single point of failure. If you have an Apex domain and you're pointing to the one IP address, that means that you've introduced a single point of failure in your site. And there's a reason that we advise against that. You should use Netlify's DNS, because that has failovers. Or if you use CNAMEs, we can account for that as well. But with that Apex domain, that Apex domain IP address is a Google load balancer. And unfortunately, Google had some issues today. That load balancer is where the outage kind of happened upstream, which means that if you were only relying on that IP to get to your Netlify site, then you're stuck until that comes back. The mitigation is in progress. I know it's coming back already for some folks. I haven't looked since the stream started, so we are 45 minutes or about an hour since I've checked on it. So it actually might be back up by now. But yeah, it's a good reminder to look for those single points of failure. And when that guidance is there that like, hey, this is not recommended, there's a reason that it's not recommended. But yeah, so that's a good thing to keep in mind, y'all. let's see. So how do guests get on the show? Typically speaking, I recruit guests, or my previous guests will recommend folks to me. I'm always open for pitches, but I will say I am not. There are not too many pitches that I've gotten that I've been like super stoked about, because a lot of times it's been for something that was either built by somebody else and I'd love to let the creator come on, or it has been something that it's just not like, there's kind of a hyper specificness that happens at certain levels that it's hard to make that relatable. But please feel free to try, but please don't feel offended if you don't get a response. I get a lot of pitches, and I'm very sorry if I don't get back to you. But yeah. Oh, Jimena, this show is the reason you got into Twitch. That means a lot to me. That really does. That does mean a lot to me. Would I consider adding the live captions when I upload the videos to YouTube? I thought I was doing that. I should go and fix that. Yeah, I should go figure that out. Yes, the captions are on learnwithjason.dev. They should be uploaded to YouTube though. So if they're not, that means that I'm doing it wrong and I need to go figure that out. So I will go do that. Can we see how the voice commands are set up? Absolutely you can. It's one of my favorite things. So the way that this works under the hood is if we go to actually we have the code up already. So let's go look here. We've got the effects in this one, and I'm going to make this bigger. So the way that it works is I've got this hook called use sound effect, and I built this kind of specifically for my overlays. So the way that use sound effect works is it gets the command out of Twitch, and then it uses a state machine to figure out which effect it should be playing, and it uses a queue so that they queue up. So you noticed like earlier today when someone adds, like somebody gifted 10 subs, right? Xander or Ben gifted 10 subs, and then it played the animation 10 times in a row instead of playing it 10 times all at once, which would have been kind of chaos. That's because it queues. So if we look at the machine, and I just had David Khorshid on the show earlier this week. So if you're interested in state machines, that episode is live, and it is a really fun one. We look into state machines and why they're useful. So I would definitely recommend checking this one out if you're interested in learning more about state machines. But the way that this works is we have the commands. They start in an idle state, which means nothing is happening. When someone adds a command to the queue, we head over to loading command assets, which runs a function that loads the assets and then moves over to starting. Starting then waits for the transition duration, which is, I think, a second or a half second, and then it moves to the active state. The active state starts the audio playing, and then after the command's duration, which can be set by the command, I'll show you how these commands are actually defined, then it moves to the stopping. Stopping waits for the length of the transition, and then it checks to see if there are more queued commands. And when it checks for more queued commands, if there is a new command, it starts the next one. Otherwise, it goes back to the idle state. So effectively, the way that this works is it's going to listen for commands at all times. And this handle queue is how it checks for new commands over and over again. Like if you, at any state, if you run a command, it will queue it up and put it into the queue so that this one catches it and starts the next one. But starting the next command, it gets the next command, and then it moves over to loading the assets again. And if anything goes wrong, in this case, it will look to see if it needs to start the next command, or it just goes back to nothing so that it fails gracefully. I did this just in case there was a way somebody could put in an invalid command that would like load improperly, or if there was a network error that prevented the sound from loading or something like that. So it'll just kind of fail gracefully there. And then all of those functions that I talked about, those are defined down here as actions and as services. So this is kind of how XState works. Again, I'm not going to go too deep into that, but the way that those are then configured, and this is the part that I think is so exciting, is if I go to the Learn with Jason website and I go into this functions folder, these are my commands. They're all serverless functions. So each of these has an object. So I have a thing. This comes out of Streamblitz. It'll eventually come out of Socket Studio, but creating a handler, you send back a name, a description, a handler function, and the handler function has audio, image, and duration. And if you supply these things, the audio that plays when you run the command is here. The image that displays on the screen is here, and how long it runs is here in seconds. So that's like, if someone runs the ahem command, it'll spend 3 seconds playing this audio and showing this image, which is really cool. So like, if I run this, we can see it happen. There's the ahem command. 3 seconds later, it'll pull out. See? So this is an abstraction that makes it really, really easy for me to add these commands. And because of the way that Socket Studio is set up with the hook, responding to these is surprisingly easy, where I just get to look at the current command and say, oh, I want to use the function tied to that thing. The use Twitch function, use Twitch chat is inside of Socket Studio. I have it set up to run. I like that I typoed this and put React instead of Preact. So inside of this, what use Twitch chat does is it hooks up to the library TMI.js, which takes the IRC and turns it into kind of event objects. And then it determines what kind of thing it is. It pulls out emotes. So if you use an emote, the actual emotes are text, like, instead of being the boop, you have the word JLang's boop. But then Twitch interprets that as a boop. But when I get the chat, it's not an image. It's like a reference to that emote. So I need to then kind of retranslate those back into the emotes using Twitch's CDN and finding the emote image files and all that kind of stuff. So it does a lot of helper things that make it easier for us to make that work, right? So so you can see that work. And then if you go and look at this list of commands, there are a few in here that aren't commands. Like I have an API. So getting the episodes that's not a command, but each of these is. So we can, you can run a boop command, you can run the Chris command, you can run the flush. I don't think we ever figured out actually making it work.
Is that right?
I think we got this one set up so that it would work, and then I never actually built the part that handles it. But yeah, we've got haxers and all of these fun things in here. So and if you want to add one, you can, like, anybody who wants to can then go and like pull a clip from the show. Anything that's not protected by copyright, you can pull a clip and you can submit a serverless function, and you would be able to contribute an effect.
You hackers, you dirty hackers.
That's right, y'all. You can be the dirty hackers that are referenced in that sound effect. But so this is a lot of fun. Like, what I love about this is a decent number of these have been, I actually think every single one of these came from interactions with the chat, where somebody said something and I made a joke, and then we turned it into an audio clip, and now it's here. Your code is not garbage. We do need Xander. That's what we need. We need that to be like a 10-second meditation clip that we can put up as a sound effect. That sounds like a lot of fun. Did I miss any questions while we were talking about that? Let's see. We got about 20 minutes left. So, if you've got more questions, fire them off now. Proving Idol. I rolled my own alerts versus using something like Streamlabs. I did. And the reason that I did is because I am extremely extra. I wanted to see how it worked. And so I started poking around to see what would happen. And then I got carried away, and here we are. But there's a couple reasons that I did it this way. One, I'm not particularly fond of the Streamlabs approach of kind of boxing everything up and putting it into kind of a constrained space where you have to do a lot of CSS overrides and stuff to make things work or to customize things. I also don't particularly love UI-based config for this sort of stuff. That's a preference, not a like fact. It's just a thing that for me personally, I spend so much time working in code that I would prefer to deal with my overlays in code. But yeah, there's a huge amount of overkill kind of setup here that allows me to do things the way that I like them. which is part of the reason why I'm trying to turn Socket Studio into something that other people can use. Is I assume that I'm not the only person who wants to do this stuff as web tech and not through UIs or cobbling together different like overlay sources in OBS. And for people who are interested in doing that, I want them to have the tools instead of having to build their own extra hooks and stuff like that. Let's see. So can I show us how the alerts work in my code? Can you rephrase that question so that I know which thing you're talking about? So some of the things I actually do still use Streamlabs for. I like the bit cheering. I haven't built a bit cheering thing yet. So that's still done through Streamlabs. Let's see. Can I do transitions? I have some transitions. So but these transitions are done through OBS. So I set up what's called a stinger. And this is the only thing that I've ever done in After Effects that was good. You can see it. Did you see that? Did you see that cloudy gradient rainbow? Like, wow, isn't that cool? I made that. I don't know how. But that has been a like, could I do it in code? 100% yes. Do I know how right now? I do not. I almost feel like the way that I would end up doing it is through chat commands, honestly, if I was going to do it, because you can trigger anything from those commands, and I can limit them to broadcasters only. So I could like run a interview command in the chat that would switch me over to interview mode. And actually that would even allow me to like let mods do it too, so that the mods, if I had forgotten to do something, could fix it on the stream, which would be really fun. But yeah, so let's see. How do the seamless transition works? So the seamless transitions are in OBS itself. I think Chris Biscardi just did some work on this, and it's really, really slick. Like it looks really nice. It's so good that it's tempting for me to like go and use it, but I don't want to give up all the flexibility I have with the web-based overlays because I also have to do a bunch of stuff. Like my sponsors come out of a database, and my overlays, like the guest names and the show title, that's coming out of a database off the Learn with Jason site. So that means that I don't have to go in and update any of this stuff when I stream. If I didn't do all of that stuff though, the OBS stuff is pretty dang tempting. Let's see. How do I listen for events like follows, cheers, etc., and then react in the UI? That's all part of the Twitch IRC stuff. It comes in. Socket Studio currently gets those events, but does not relay them yet. It relays subscriptions now. So that's all just feature work that needs to be done. But at the end of the day, you'd be able to just, use bits or use cheers or something like that. It would get me to do a Rust data sourcing plugin for OBS. Oh, goodness. Yeah. Actually, Chris's stuff is really, really cool. If you're not, let's see, let's do a shout out let's see if my shout out command works. Chris Biscardi. If you're not following Chris, you should. He's in the Party Corgi Discord. Oh my God, I'm so bad at this. Chris. Did that one work? There it is. Okay, yeah, go do that. Yeah, that's just me forgetting how everything that I'm talking about works. So that shout out, right, is another command that I think only broadcasters and mods can run. And then what is it Party Corgi? I have a chat. I have a command somewhere that shows the Discord, and I can't remember what it is. I think I might have broken it. But anyways, there is a Discord that you can go to, discord.gg/partycorgi. Is that the one? Hope it doesn't need a hyphen. No, that's the right one. Okay. So that's the chat, and I will, and you can also find the website up here, partycorgi.com. This is a good place to go if you are a streamer or you want to learn how to stream. I love Party Corgi. It's got a COC. It's got a really good group of people in there. Everybody's super supportive. It's actively moderated, so it's a very safe space to go and learn and share. And in addition to streaming, people are doing content creation or just learning together, playing games. You know, we play Fortnite in there, Minecraft. Got people doing Hades speed runs. I think Prince is in there doing a Breath of the Wild run right now. So you can go in and hang out. They do quiet co-working and lots of good places to go and hang out and just be around people who are interested in a huge variety of things. But yeah, okay, we got 15 minutes, chat. So this is your time. If you've got more questions, you should do that. Let's see. Getting back into streaming programming. Discord, aka the good teams. It'll be interesting to see how that goes. What my Twitch display looks like when I'm live? Sure, I can pull this over for a second. It's basically. Oh, did that work? Here. This is what I'm looking at while y'all are streaming. This is kind of my general set. But yeah, this is how I keep up with what's going on and make sure that I can see the chat and I'm ready in case something goes wrong. I can hop to the ban commands, swing that ban hammer. But yeah, I think this is get velvetized. That's how it works. If you want to pitch me to be on the show, you can always do that. You can send me a DM or you can email me jason@langsdorf.com. But again, don't. I absolutely want to hear your pitch, and I really hope it doesn't hurt your feelings if you don't hear back from me, because I get a ton of email. Now that I've fixed my email, I don't know if y'all noticed, but a few days ago I took my whole email server down for like a week. Tell us about pizza. What do I love? I do love pizza. Recently, I've been on a pretty passionate Detroit style kind of adventure. There are only 2 places in Portland that do good Detroit style pizza, but it is very good. I don't have the like extreme feelings about pineapple on pizza. I don't love it. I don't order it. But if that's what somebody else orders, like, I'll eat it. It's fine. I don't care. Let's see. What is a team in Twitch? That's a good question. So a team in Twitch is kind of an arbitrary grouping of Twitch streamers. And if you follow a team, you can kind of like watch a team's channel and it will just move between who's live in that team. I think I'm part of the live coders team, but I don't really do anything with it. I think some teams are more active than others. I also think that there's like a much bigger incentive for teams with like the gaming Twitch community. I haven't seen a big uptick in like teams usage for coders. The Velvetizer. Oh, Jimena, you're dreaming about the Velvetizer. Wait until you try it. It is amazing. Detroit is not in Portland. Detroit is in Michigan, which is about 2/3 of the way east from where I'm on the west coast of the United States. Detroit is near the Great Lakes. So if you look at a map of the US, there's like that big chunk of water in the middle. Detroit's near there. And so they are famous for square pizza. Actually, let me pull up a Detroit style pizza. So this is Detroit style pizza. It's like the hallmarks of it are, you can see here that the edges, like there's no crust on it. The cheese goes right up to the edge, and that's kind of a feature because the cheese gets really crispy there, and it's really delicious. And then the other thing is that a lot of times the sauce on a Detroit style pizza gets put on top so that the cheese bakes into the crust really well, and you almost get like a cheese bread, which is really nice. I don't know if Salt and Burnham's here, but he has opinions about Detroit style pizza, and I'm a big fan. Like I think it's really good. It's almost like a focaccia style crust, so it's like fry bread almost, which is really, really nice. And it's got that crispy cheese, which I'm a huge fan of. It's got all the things that I like about a pizza. Now that being said, if I can find a good Neapolitan pizza, like this is like the OG, right? But these are really hard to get done well because it's like this pizza is so hard to do right that it has a certification process to be able to say that you make it, where you have to get like this group of inspectors to come and like measure that your ovens are the right temperature and that you cook pizzas. These pizzas cook so fast. They cook in like 90 seconds. And you have to use the right kind of tomatoes and the right kind of cheese and all this kind of stuff. It's very, very restrictive. But if you get a chance and you get to go to Naples, there is in the book Eat, Pray, Love. Actually, this is really funny. In the book Eat, Pray, Love, there is a pizzeria called Damichelle, I think, that does like the pizza that I haven't read Eat, Pray, Love, but I think this is the reason that love is in the title of the book is because she ate this pizza. And it is so dang good. Like we went and we waited in line for like an hour because of course everybody got wind of this because that book was huge and wanted to go to this pizzeria. I think they were famous before Eat, Pray, Love too, but it's good. Real good. Yeah, the chill stream, you know, what do you think, chat? Do you like this kind of chill stream? I've been contemplating whether these are interesting because I really like doing the guest-based stuff, but I do kind of like this idea of doing like a little more like chill chat. So you tell me, what do you think? Do you want to see more of these? Do you want to just stick to the guests? Let me know in the chat. I like it both. More Jason. I literally just ate. Now I want to eat pizza. So I wasn't planning on getting pizza today, but I'm definitely doing it now. I think my partner is Marissa. She has like tamales in the fridge that she's gonna eat, and she doesn't have enough for me, so I'm gonna order a pizza. Yeah, no, this definitely wouldn't be my all the time. I think at most I would do this like once a month because I feel like it's we're gonna run out of things to talk about. I can only talk about pizza for 4 or 5 hours tops, so we're gonna run out of material here pretty soon. Marissa's gonna be so mad at me for bringing it up. She is. She's gonna be furious. Handmade pasta. I love handmade pasta. We learned how to do that. We got a good recipe on like how to do it with the pile of flour, crack an egg into it, kind of make your own. Oh, it's so good, so much fun. Pop pizza. Pop pizza was the one that I was thinking of. If I don't get pop pizza though, what I'm gonna get is ranch PDX. This is the one that I've been really feeling. They do. It's like an actual focaccia dough. Look at this beautiful pizza. Like, oh my goodness, that is a delicious pizza right there. They get this nice crispy bit, and they make this house ranch that is just killer. So I'm. Oh, Andrew Pomeroy, what's up, Andrew? I didn't even read your username. I just thought you were. Yeah, Andrew is a local. Scotty's. I haven't been to Scotty's. Should I try that today? Ooh, all right. We've got adventures. Okay, now I have Googling to do. Roll that beautiful pizza footage. Yes, we should. Scotty's is the truth. Ooh, okay. Now I want to see pictures of Scotty's pizza. Ooh, okay. I'm seeing good things. All right. Okay. This isn't Detroit style, but maybe today's not a Detroit style day. Can I eat this whole pizza to myself? Probably. Should I? Probably. Okay. All right. So all right, I'm going to stop torturing you with food photos. So instead, let's talk a little bit about what's coming up on the show, because I've got some really, really fun stuff coming up. Something I'm excited about. This is builder.io. It's a tool that I haven't used before, but I really like what they're doing. It's kind of like visual e-commerce building to make it a lot more approachable, a little more fun. Like I said, we've got Prince coming back. We are going to do the real-time notifications with the Twitch API. And then we've got Cassidy coming back. Now, originally, Cassidy and I, when we booked this, Sarah was still at Netlify. Sarah has since moved on. She's going to go do her own thing, which is super exciting. We can't wait to see what she does. But it also means that she's not our boss anymore. Unfortunately, I'm now the boss, so we're either we're gonna troll Sarah. But I told Sarah this is the equivalent of us like flying the flag at half mast to kind of like honor the passing of a great moment, and except this is going to probably involve like tacos and poop jokes. So so I'm very, very excited about that. And then we've got so much fun stuff. There are a few that I haven't had a chance to get up on the site yet. I will do that so fast soon, maybe today. But then I've got Jennifer Wadella's coming. We're going to do forms in Angular. This is going to be really fun. Angular is something I don't do very much of, so I'm excited to see. She's one of the best in the business in the Angular community, and also just really fun to hang out with. Nathaniel Kenwa's coming back. If you haven't seen any of the episodes with Nathaniel, he is hilarious, and we always end up building something really fun. We're going to play with Twilio. We're going to build a custom IVR, so like a system you can call into and press buttons to. So we're either going to make it useful or we're going to make it intentionally infuriating, like press 1 to talk to a person, and then when it's like you press 1, it'll be like, just kidding, you don't want to talk to a person. Would you like to hear more options? And then you don't get a choice. Like that's the kind of IVR. Then we're bringing on Shandai Person. We're going to learn about functional React with style components. So if you have been working on a code base, it's all class components, and you're interested in what happens with functional React, we're going to learn about that. We're also going to look at styled components for doing CSS and JS. So really excited about that. And like I said, I've got more coming up that we haven't had a chance to get up on the site yet, but stay tuned because that's going to be really, really fun. As always, this show has been captioned. We've had Rachel here all day putting up with my chatter. Thank you very much, Rachel. I appreciate you. And I'm very sorry for how you just had to spend your last 90 minutes. That has been made possible by White Coat Captioning and our sponsors. So we've had, wow, look at that bug. Look at this. This always happens. And then when I refresh the page, it goes away. Or I guess until it doesn't. I don't know what it is. I think it's a green sock thing, and I don't know enough about it to fix it. I'll get there eventually. But that's been made possible by our sponsors. We've got Netlify, Fauna, Auth0, and Hasura all kicking in to make this show more accessible to help me cover the cost of the live captioning and keep the wheels on in general. I appreciate it very much. It means a lot to me. Make sure you head to the homepage of the site, which is where these captions live. And you will also be able to click on any one of these logos to learn more about these sponsors. With that being said, y'all, I think it's about time to call this thing done. Who should I raid? I usually raid the same people. So chat, tell me who I should go raid. And remember, this audience is mostly web devs, and it is absolutely an inclusive community. So keep those criteria in mind when you suggest people. Anyone? Where we at? No one? Anybody live? Anybody going live like right now? We can all just follow you over to start your stream. Toefrog? I don't know, Toefrog. Let's go raid Toefrog. Let's do it. It's gonna be fun. We are going over right now. Everybody get ready. Thank you so much for hanging out, and we will see you next time.